I told the witch doctor I was in love with you. I told the witch doctor I was in love with you. And then the witch doctor, he told me what to do. He said, oh, it's time to get back to our video notes. I'm sorry, I was having too much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to video 2. We're going to finish off our notes on dividing integers tonight. You do have one more video. It's real quick, though, on why we're not allowed to divide by 0, or we're allowed to, but we're not going to get an answer, and why the answer sometimes our elementary teachers is wrong. So video number 3 after this one, but it's a short one. Ladies and gentlemen, in video 2, evaluating an expression, we have to use our order of operations when we evaluate an expression. And of course, when they give us an expression, that expression most likely is going to contain some variables where we have to substitute. Man, I'm having a hard time with my words tonight. We're going to have to substitute values of those variables into the expression so that we can then evaluate the expression and come up with an answer using, of course, our order of operations. So let's talk about it again real quickly. I know we've done it before, but our order of operations. No more is it PEMDAS. We now have GEMDAS. We start with G now. No more P. We're going to start with G because G says grouping symbols. Grouping symbols, we've learned some of those. We know that there are parentheses. We know that there's absolute value bars, and there's square root or radical signs that are also grouping symbols. We're going to learn a whole lot more during the year. And of course, we go exponents, and then we go multiplication and division, whatever comes first from left to right, and then we go addition and subtraction, whatever comes first left to right. Everything is the same that you learn in elementary, except no more P, it's now G, because we have grouping symbols at this big boy and big girl school. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it. So we're going to evaluate the expression when A is -18 and B is -6. So to do that, we have to rewrite the expression substituting in the values of A and B. So A would be -18, so we would write -18 divided by B, which is -6. Of course, we are dividing. We just learned that when we divide with the same signs, the answer is positive. 18 divided by 6 is 3, so our final answer is 3. I know that's fairly easy, but we got to get our basics down first. Moving on to example 6, A plus 6 divided by 3. Again, substituting for the variable, we have to rewrite it as -18 plus 6 divided by 3. And so here's another grouping symbol. Our fraction bar, our division sign in this particular case, counts as a grouping symbol, telling us that we have to do the addition in the numerator first. -18 plus 6, going back to our second lesson. We're adding opposite signs, so we're going to subtract. 18 minus 6 is 12. The 18 is bigger, so I get -12 over 3. And now we're dividing, and we're dividing a negative by a positive. We know that the answer will be negative, and 12 divided by 12 divided by 3 is 4. I gave you the answer there. So our answer is -4. Our next example, B squared divided by A plus 4. So again, substituting our values. Now it says B is squared, and we've learned a couple different ways of doing squaring. So we have to decide, are we going to write -6 squared, or are we going to write -6 squared using parentheses? Which one of those would give us the correct answer on this expression? Well, I hope you took a guess, and you're going to find out if it's true, because it's supposed to be written this way. We want -6 squared inside the parentheses because we're squaring B, and the value of B is -6. All divided by A, which is -18, and then we're going to add 4. Again, our fraction bar is a grouping symbol, so we're going to do the exponent first. We're going to go -6 squared, and since it's in parentheses, that will give us a positive 36, because -6 squared is -6 times a -6, and a negative times a negative is positive. All divided by -18, and then we're going to add 4. Again, we're going to do division before we do addition. 36 divided by a -18. Division, positive divided by a negative is negative, so that will give us -2. And then we're going to add 4. Again, adding with opposite signs. 4 minus 2 is 2. The 4 is bigger, so our final answer is 2 for this one. All right. Pretty straightforward, huh? All you gotta do is call the witch doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, our last example of the night, a real life application. It says the morning high tide at the beach is 57 inches. 6 hours later, the afternoon low tide is 12 inches. What is the mean hourly change in the height? So our question is very important. Sometimes you need to highlight it. Highlighting your text is very important when you can, so you understand what's going on. We want to find the mean hourly change. What's another word for mean in mathematics? That's right, the average. How do we find average? That's right, we add up all the items and then we divide by the number of items. Well, we have to find out what that sum of items are. To get that, we look at our story problem. We said, hey, it started at 57 inches, and then in the afternoon, it was 12 inches. So that's going to tell us what happened over the 6 hours, the amount of items. Those items are hours. So we have to take 12 minus 57. You're going to say, well, Mr. Ross, 57 is bigger than 12. Why don't we do that? Well, if the tide is going down, that means the tide is decreasing. And to represent that as an integer, we have to use a negative. All divided by the 6 hours to give us that hourly mean change in height. Of course, 12 minus 57 is going to give us a negative 45 divided by 6, which would give us a negative 7.5. So that would be a negative 7.5 inches per hour. So that means the tide decreased at an average rate of 7.5 inches per hour. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't hesitate to ask questions in class if you have them. Going on to our last quick write of the night. This is the last quick write. Go ahead and pause it and all that kind of stuff to write down that expression so you can fill in the numbers and move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to write down any questions you have regarding what we did on dividing integers tonight. And then this stuff right here, begin working on your assignment, quality effort. Remember, it's 30 to a max of 45. This video was made before. I changed it. Always aggressiveness and urgency. Use your time effectively. Ladies and gentlemen, always a pleasure. Please don't forget, we have a quick video number 3 on dividing by 0. See you in just a second.